Since the first airing of the Harlingen Mayor's Forum, Harlingen City Attorney Roxanne Cotroneo has resigned. Harlingen Mayor Chris Boswell and challenger Rick Morales discussed the issue of the employment status of the city attorney in our original forum. However, it was left out of that telecast because of time constraints. Now that Cotroneo has resigned, Harlingen voters would like to see both candidates for mayor discuss this issue. Therefore, in this follow-up telecast airing of the Harlingen Mayor's Forum, the segment that was not involved and not telecast in the original version and will be seen toward the ends of the program. You're watching Ron Whitlock Reports Harlingen Mayor's Race Candidate Forum. Now, Election Day comes up on May the 11th. Early vote in the city of Harlingen starts April 29, ends on May 7th. You need to write those down. Those are important days if you live in the city limits of the city of Harlingen, because on that particular day and series of days, you can either vote for the incumbent. Sitting on my left, Chris Boswell. Mayor, welcome to the telecast here today.
Hello.
And his,
how are you, Ron?
I'm doing good. Thank you for joining us. And his challenger, Rick Morales. Rick, former mayor of the city of Donna. So we have a incumbent sitting mayor and we have a former mayor from a nearby smaller community. Both challengers wanting to fill the seat of the mayoralty at City Hall, the mayor's office as it were. Now, Mayor, when you ran the first time to fill the role of mayor of the city of Harlingen, what did you promise the voters at that time? The first time you put your name on the ballot to be the mayor of the city, what did you promise?
What I told the voters is that we would get the community together and that we would work together to develop a plan that we could move the community forward with. And that was something that I wanted to do to make sure that everyone in our community had input on what they thought was important for Harlingen, what they thought was a priority. And we got a lot of those priorities in the plan, and we've accomplished a lot of them.
Same question, Rick. When you ran for the position of mayor of the city of Donna, what did you promise the voters of Donna, and did you deliver?
Well, let me tell you, the city of Donna, let me tell you a kind of brief history how we ended up in Donna. I'm originally from Harlingen, born and raised in Harlingen, grew up on East Street between Lincoln and Grant. In fact, my parents still live in the same house. I went to Lamar Elementary, Bowie Elementary, Coakley, graduated from Harlingen High School back in 1985. And our son was born with Down syndrome, our son Isaiah, who's now 23 years old. We moved to Donna because they had an exceptionally good program for special ed. And we moved to Donna. We were there for 15 years. The city had a lot of challenges. And I used to complain a lot about, well, you know, what about this, what about that? And my wife told me, well, why don't you stop complaining and do something about it? So that's what I did. I went, got elected commissioner, served 2 years, ran for mayor, was there for 6 years. We had to address everything in Donna. The only thing we did have, we had a presidential permit to build an international bridge. And so got together with the commission and some of the business leaders in Donna, and we decided that we were going to undertake this big challenge. For 50 years, the city of Donna had tried to build a bridge, couldn't get it done. And so we said, you know what, we're going to get this thing done.
Now, Mayor Boswell, what policies are you offering the voters of the city of Harlingen if they elect you as their mayor? And how are you going to convince the other 5 members of the commission, city of Harlingen, to back you on those particular policies you're going to explain with them today?
Well, the policies are to continue what we've been doing. The first things first. I think most people want to know that they live in a safe community. And when I became mayor, we had some gang violence that erupted in a small area of our community. But there were 3 separate incidents over a 13-month period. And so I initiated the gang task force, and the police initiated a gang eradication unit. And we took juvenile crime down 72%, and we have since that time taken our crime rate down over a period of 5 years. Last year we had a 22% drop in the crime rate.
How did you do that, 1, 2, 3?
one of the things we did a lot of innovative things with the gang unit. We took probation officers from the Cameron County Juvenile Probation Department, and we put them in police cars, ride around with the police officers so that they could make on-the-spot arrests of gang members who were on probation. So we really locked the gang members down. But more importantly, we're going to continue with this explosive retail growth by continuing to attract retail businesses like Bass Pro Shop and Burlington Coat Factory and Sam's Club to Harlingen. And we're going to continue to expand our manufacturing job base, which we have done in the last 5 years. And we're going to continue to develop our medical sector through the development of the medical school, the VA Surgical Center into a full-blown hospital, and to continue to grow our medical sector.
So what you're offering basically to the voters is the status quo. You're going to continue to do somewhat improving on what you've already done in the past, with maybe a few other things. We'll get back to that in a moment. Give us something that maybe you did in Donna, Rick, when you were running Mr. Morales for mayor in Donna, and things you did accomplish, and therefore you may think you want to bring them up here. Is it economic development, for instance?
Well, one of them is economic development, but the main thing is finding ways to access federal and state dollars. That's one of the things that we did in Donna. Being that Donna was a very poor community, we were able to go to the Texas Water Development Board and get a lot of these low-interest loans and grants to build our infrastructure. I'm glad that Mr. Boswell brought up the retail side, and he mentioned Bass Pro Shop, and one of the things that I take exception with, and not just myself, I talk to other business leaders in the community in Harlingen, is the way the deal was structured. The way the deal was structured is basically City of Harlingen gives Bass Pro Shop, it's my understanding, several tens of millions of dollars. And our annual payment, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Boswell, is around $3.5 million a year. And they're paying rent of about $900,000 a year. And then you take out you back out the ad valorem tax or the property tax of about $300,000. So there's a net rent of about $600,000 a year that Bass Pro Shop is paying. So that means that the citizens of Harlingen have to subsidize it by $2.9 million a year. Now, the way I see it is if it's costing me $3 and I'm selling it for $1, I'm losing. That was not structured properly in my book.
I'm absolutely happy to straighten you out because you
Sure.
obviously don't understand the deal. And so let's talk about the deal. Let's explain what we did and why we did it. What was done was we built a building, or the Economic Development Corporation of the City of Harlingen built a building. We own that building. We have that asset. And Bass Pro Shop pays a percentage rent as part of their lease payment. We also receive back we take all of the retail sales tax that's generated from Bass Pro Shop. All of that goes to the bond payment. The Economic Development Corporation does have to make up the difference for some period of time, and that number may vary from $1.8 million to $2 million a year. But look what's happened since Bass Pro Shop opened. Since Bass Pro Shop opened, our sales tax overall has increased 9%. We're now, for the first time, we've hit over $1 billion in retail sales. That 2%, that 9%, or almost 10%, is the $2 million. So in the first year, we've already broken even. With about $500,000 of that going to the Economic Development $500,000 of that going to the Economic Development Corporation, and an increase to our general fund of $1.5 million. In fact, the City of Harlingen ended its fiscal year last year with a $2.5 million increase, $2.3 million increase to its general fund. More importantly, it's important to really understand the way we did structure the debt on the Bass Pro Shop. The full faith and credit of the city of Harlingen was not pledged. That means that nobody's property taxes are at risk. The only revenue that was pledged for that is the 3/8 of 1 cent retail sales tax that goes to fund the Economic Development Corporation. So only the Economic Development Corporation is looked at. Our credit rating has improved to a AA minus. In this recessionary period, you know, we've been going through the greatest recession since the Great Depression, and the United States of America, our United States government has had its credit rating lowered. The city of Harlingen has had its credit rating increased. So we did a lot better job on structuring this deal than Mr. Morales did and Donna on the bridge deal, because instead of just pledging a portion of the city's revenue, they had to pledge the full faith and credit of the entire city of Donna. So when he says that he lowered taxes, I don't know when he lowered taxes, because for the time that I've seen that he was mayor, the tax rate was 99 cents every single year that you were the mayor. And then when you left, you were not reelected in Donna, the tax rate increased to $1.25.
Kind of like he's passed the ball. Kind of like he's passed the ball back to you, Challenger.
I'm happy. That tax increase did not happen under my watch. That's all I got to say about that. Also, I'm glad you brought up the $1 billion. You know, growing up here in Harlingen, I know you grew up in San Benito. Growing up in Harlingen, we're always right there with Brownsville and McAllen. And you talk about Harlingen reached the $1 billion mark. That's great. McAllen reached it 18 years ago. Brownsville reached it 21 years ago. We can do better. That's what I tell the people of Harlingen, we can do better. We're 20 years behind the people that we should be up there with in the valley. You have Farr, Edinburgh, Mission, who are catching up to us with a bullet. They're catching up. They're around $800 million, $900 million. Wow, we hit $1 billion. It took us 20 years to catch up to the other guys, catch up to McAllen and Brownsville. Congratulations. It only took 20 years. Now, let's go back to the way the deal was structured. You're absolutely right that only 3/8 of 1%.
1 cent.
Of 1 cent, excuse me. Well, 1%, 1 cent's the same thing.
No.
That money that is going to pay the debt, basically what you did is you broke the Economic Development Corporation. They're broke. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're wrong. They're not. They're absolutely not broke, and they have.
Well, have you talked to the board members?
And they still have. Well, I can read the financial statement.
Well, the board members say we can't go and do. I'm going to.
There's a cost associated with progress, and that's what was done. We made a conscious decision. The city did. Actually, the mayor doesn't have a vote. But the Economic Development Corporation voted unanimously. The City Commission voted unanimously to move forward with the Bass Pro Shop.
So you're out. You're out of the equation.
And as I've said, we really did have a tremendous result, a real win with the Bass Pro Shop. Because that Bass Pro Shop was not intended to be an end in and of itself. That wasn't the end. That's the beginning. That's the beginning of attracting the Burlington Coat Factories, the Sam's Warehouse, the Longhorn Steakhouse, and everything that started to fill in around it, including hotels and other.
I know a little bit of
other retailers.
I know about the Sam's.
Well, so that's
because I was part of negotiating with the developer in the city.
I know that you charged Mr. Reyna a fee to try to get money from the city of Harlingen.
And we did.
Money that the city of Harlingen was going to put into this deal anyway.
And the first time I met with you, you were very negative. You didn't even think that we had Sam's under contract until we showed you the contract that it was signed. I still remember that it was kind of an awkward situation.
I did want to see the contract. I did want to make sure that
Well, I can tell you right now, the contract that you did with us was a lot better than the contract you did with Bass Pro Shop. It was a lot better deal for the city of Harlingen. But I want to talk about the Economic Development Corporation money that you talk about, that we're going to be creating these jobs with manufacturing jobs. Tell me what happened 3 weeks ago when the Economic Development Corporation gave $75,000 to a used car lot. A used car lot. Is that what the kind of jobs we want to attract to Harlingen? $75,000 to a used car lot?
Well, the Economic Development Corporation, I don't know that that deal has been finalized, but
have you objected to it?
No,
I'm asking you a question. Did you object, saying, you know what, McAllen, Farr, Edinburgh, Mission, Brownsville?
It's not a used car shop. It's
not a used car lot?
It's a.
What is the name of the company that's getting the money?
It's LF Motor Company.
LF Used Car Motor Company. Do they sell used cars?
They sell Polaris.
Do they sell used cars?
They do sell used cars.
They sell used cars. It's a used car lot. That's what it is. They sell used cars. Now, I have a lot of friends that are in the used car business.
Do you want to know the reason why they did that?
I'm sure.
Know the reason?
I'm sure the used car lot business is a great business.
Because they generate a whole lot of retail sales tax off of the Polaris line of ATVs that they're selling. They brought that line to Harlingen, and they're selling it, and they're taking business away from McAllen and the dealership over there because they're selling so many here. So that's $60,000, and it's not 75. It's less than that.
I can tell you right now that if I was the mayor and I did that deal, you would be jumping all over me and saying, "What are you doing with a used car lot? Giving money to a used car lot?"
Well,
I don't understand that.
It's not. That's not why it was given money to, and I just explained that. It was given money.
Let the people in Harlingen decide. Do you want your money from economic development to go to used car lots? It's up to you. You decide. If you do, then you vote for Mr. Boswell.
Well, the real issue here is building our retail sales tax base, and Harlingen has the second highest per capita retail sales of any city in the valley. Behind McAllen, yes, but their per capita sales are higher than Houston's. Our per capita retail sales are higher than Brownsville's. It's really a remarkable thing to know that we're living in a community that sells more on a per capita basis than Brownsville does. But it's also important to know that growing the retail sales tax base is the way we can get a $2.3 million increase to our fund balance at the end of last fiscal year. It's a way that we can increase salaries to our employees, our policemen, our firemen, and all of our rank and file employees. It's a way that we can keep our parks developed and growing. And it's a way that we can attract people to our community because they know that we have a great quality of life. Retail sales tax is incredibly important, and we spent a lot of time developing that retail sales tax base.
Now, during the last debate that I hosted at News Channel 5 with you and Kenneth Minton, there was a conversation about over-regulation by City Hall in particular, keeping out many firms who, unless they come into McAllen, have a great operation, decide what we're going to expand, because it's going to be zero additional money for administration, zero we can share advertising and marketing. So they'd go to Brownsville and open there. That would be great. So logically at the time, they would want to come to Harlingen, but many were going to Weslaco. Has that culture at City Hall somewhat been changed by virtue of firms coming in and so forth, so on, in your opinion?
Well, I can tell you that, you know, a lot of times developers come in and they say that a city is a hard place to do business in. I can tell you that Mayor Richard Cortez of McAllen, in his State of the City address, not this year but last year, told the audience, you know, we've got to change the perception, or we've got to change the culture of the way we do business in McAllen because people say it's a hard place to do business in. Jim Darling in McAllen, when he announced that he was going to run for mayor of McAllen, he said the same thing. We've got to change either the perception or the reality. I think a lot of developers use that to say, look, we need we want you to give us a better deal, or we're going to go down the road and build someplace else. When we completed the VA Surgical Center here in Harlingen, and we had the ribbon cutting for that 2 years ago, Senator Hutchinson was here. I had the project manager come up to me and say, you know, Mayor Boswell, it has been such a pleasure to develop this 140,000 square foot ambulatory surgical center here in Harlingen, this $40 million project. because your city staff and everybody connected with the city has been so great to work with. He said in other communities it's like they don't want you there and they make it so hard on you, but you have done such a great job here in Harlingen to make it friendly for these businesses and developers to come in. And we built that Bass Pro Shop building in 7 months. So there wasn't any holdup or red tape with that.
Now, in the last 4 or 5 minutes of the conversation, your reaction?
I want to respond to that. I talk to small business people every day. My goal is to meet 20 new people a day in Harlingen. And the overwhelming response that I get from small business people here in Harlingen is that it's extremely hard to do business in Harlingen. All the red tape. I know Mr. Boswell says that one individual told him about the ambulatory center, but I've talked to 70, 80, 90, 100 small business people that say totally the opposite. And they're here all the time. They talk about the inspection department coming in. They talk about this, that, and the other. All of these different regulations that the city has made it so hard for them to move into town. I want to talk briefly about the new home construction over in Harlingen. We average about 85 homes, new homes, a year. Edinburgh is around 680 homes a year, 680. When the city of Harlingen a few years ago adopted a higher water and sewer rates, that just, in my opinion, devastated, not just my opinion, a lot of developers that I've talked to. They pulled out, said, you know what, we can't afford those fees. Those fees are way too high.
30 seconds, Mr. Morales.
Okay. They couldn't afford those fees. We need to do something about the regulation here in Harlingen. It's way too much. And day one, after I take over, I'm going to bring all the staff in and we're going to take a look and see what we can do to streamline. We have to streamline all these regulations so we can be small business friendly.
Minute and a half. Why would you be a better mayor of the city of Harlingen than your opponent?
Well, I've demonstrated my commitment to this community. I know this community. I know what we have done. I know what our capabilities of, and I know where we need to go in the future. Harlingen's doing great, but we can do more. We can continue the explosive retail sales tax growth that we've had. We can continue to make sure that this is one of the safest communities anywhere in the country, and we can tell people that. We can tell people that story about a 5-year downward trend and a 22% drop in the crime rate last year. And we can bring businesses like United Healthcare, a Fortune 25 company that is employing 750 people. And that occurred on my watch, as well as the expansion of Tyco Valves. We kept that company here. Instead of moving to Ohio, they stayed here. They did a $5 million expansion, added 65 jobs out there. We have lots of other manufacturers like Cardone and ITT Precision and Penn Air, who are all continuing to grow. We need to continue to focus on all of these areas: our medical school, the medical sector, manufacturing, retail sales, and keeping our city clean and crime-free. Challenger
Rick Morales, your 90 seconds.
My 90 second. I think in this debate you've seen the types of, the differences between Mr. Boswell and myself. One, I would never do a deal that costs $3 and sell for $1 and us lose money on a monthly basis, on an annual basis, to the tune of $7,000 a day, which is about equivalent to $3 million a year. I would never do a deal like that. One. Two, I would not go to a used car lot and say, used car lot, we want you to create jobs. I have nothing against used car lot people. I'm not attacking you. What I'm attacking is Mr. Boswell's support of that, having used car lots somehow create jobs so we can have higher paying jobs in Harlingen. I don't understand that. Maybe one of these days he can sit down with me over a cup of coffee and say, used car lot jobs, that's the way to go, Rick. That's the way to go. McAllen, Brownsville, Mission, Farr, Edinburgh. I checked with their Economic Development Corporation. As far as I know, and as far as they know, they've never done a loan, or excuse me, a grant to a used car lot. So these are the differences between him and myself. Also, I will tell you, to all the women in Harlingen, if you have cancer and you work for the city, I will not fire you. I will not try to dismiss you because you have cancer. I will not do that. I will not do that. If somebody has any questions in reference to that, you can go to my Facebook and we can discuss that, because Mr. Boswell has put the city attorney who was fighting breast cancer on the agenda 3 times to try to get her out, because she's going through chemo, not working enough hours. I would never, ever do that to any woman working in City Hall, ever. Thank you.
And that's entirely incorrect. It's an absolute falsehood.
Not according to her.
Well, according to, I'm telling you that that's not true. None of that is true, and I didn't put it on the agenda for that. And it's just not true, Rick. It's not true. And you've told me things.
Well, what is the truth, Mayor Boswell?
Well, the truth is that I'm not trying to terminate somebody because
who put on the agenda 3 times? Who put on the agenda 3 times?
I didn't put it on the agenda 3 times.
Who was it? Because the agenda was never signed. It's going to be 2 commissioners or the mayor. It was never signed. Who put it on the agenda?
I have never recommended to the city commission that the city attorney be terminated. I have never put it on the agenda for her to be terminated. So,
well, there was 3 commissioners. It's either
incorrect.
Victor Leon, Danny Castillo, or Mike Mesmer. Of those 3 commissioners, who put it on? If it wasn't you, who put it on?
The agenda item wasn't to terminate the city attorney. The agenda item was to discuss
her evaluation.
Things, and everybody has to have an evaluation.
Who put it on the agenda?
I put the first one on for the evaluation we did it. Actually, I'm not sure I did it. All 3 had to be evaluated: the city attorney, the city manager.
Okay, but then the last 2, who did it?
Is that required by statute that they have to be evaluated?
Yes.
And also by contract, they have to be evaluated. That's what we're talking about, and you're distorting this, and it's an absolute distortion. The person at this table who has come to me and said,
okay, here's the thing,
needs to be terminated is you, Rick Morales. You have come to me on many occasions.
I have the power to terminate her. I do have the power to terminate her. I'm not even in office. But you can ask the city attorney, yourself, the people in Harlingen, especially the ladies. You can find out exactly what's going on. You can believe me. You can believe him. Either one of us could be distorting this. Ask her, and she will tell you what's going on. She had to hire an attorney to defend her job so she can keep her job. And when it all comes out as far as who put it on the agenda, who didn't put it on the agenda, you're playing with semantics, Mayor. Mr. Boswell, you're playing with semantics. I put it on the first time, but not the second time or the third time. Who put it on? According to the city charter, there's got to be either the mayor or 2 commissioners that got to put it on. So who were the 2 commissioners if you didn't do it? Who were the 2 commissioners that put it on?
Well,
it was a continuation of the prior meeting. It was a continuation of the prior meeting.
Incumbent Mayor Chris Boswell, thank you for coming and being with us today. Challenger Rick Morales,
thank you.
Former Mayor of the City of Donna, thank you for joining us. Now, Election Day, May the 11th, early vote April 29th through May 7th, City of Harlingen. Who do you want to be mayor if you live in the City of Harlingen? You're the one who determines that by going to the polls and voting. Thank you for joining us here on Ron Whitlock Reports and or ronwhitlockrreports.com. Till next time, adios.